Hey guys, welcome back to rhrjen. I'm so glad you're here. I have enjoyed so much my sit down with John Witherspoon, so I'm going to continue that on today. A huge thank you to everybody who's left such wonderful, kind comments for him. Make sure you keep those coming. I'll make sure that he sees them and is aware of the nice things you guys are saying. And we're going to just continue on talking about all the craziness that's going on with Harry and Meghan. Thank you so much, John, for your time and your thoughtful answers. Make sure you're giving him the follow on Instagram. He's at Witherspoon DC. Thanks again.
They were in a receiving line somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And she was, running her mouth and having a good old time and having a 5-minute conversation with everybody. And he was at the end of the line and he was like,
we're waiting for mom. Yeah.
Yeah. Hurry. And he even went. He was like, let's go. Right. Yes. Yes. So, I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, if Harry ever did that to Meghan, can you envision what the reaction would be?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he would never. But we've more than 100 times seen her go, elbow him out of the way, or scurry him,
or the hand in the middle of the back, or the claw, or all of that stuff. Yeah.
But it would not go well, I don't think, in my opinion, if it was the
absolutely other way. Not. I agree with you. My opinion is the same.
Yeah, I think so. So Harry, you had likened to, he's like, I wrote down what you said because I thought it was so clever. Ugh, I hate to pay a compliment. No, you said Harry is like a bad singer on American Idol. He believes everything is stacked against him. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
That pretty much sums it up. Harry is the person. For those who, there are versions of American Idol all over the place, but for people who've never watched it, it's a singing competition, and people, or it's like America's Got Talent, or there are all these different versions of the show, but they bring people in to audition for a record contract, a handful of whom are genuinely very talented, and they have been overlooked. The woman, what's the woman? Susan British
Boyle.
Woman.
Susan Boyle.
Yes. The Susan Boyles of the world are the people that they're looking for. But not only to fill the time between auditioning the Susan Boyles, but to have something else to be the source of entertainment. They bring people in who are genuinely untalented, but they're the last to know.
Sure.
And they get told, listen, this is, and a lot of times in very kind terms, you know what, this is just not your thing. Right. You are not going to be a professional singer. I hate to tell you this.
Yeah.
And in some cases, people are, dejected, and they walk away and, kind of have their tail between their legs and they feel bad. And in other cases, people are very combative.
Yeah.
And they get angry with Simon Cowell or Paula Abdul or whoever else is on the panel. And they become very, they fight back and combative. And then they go out into the hall and they're interviewed and then they're still, oh, these people, they're idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. Simon doesn't know what he's doing and Paula doesn't know what she's doing. And it's like, it's genuinely entertaining to see some of these people that just think that they're the next big thing and they're nothing. And I get the sense that that's the way Harry would react.
I think you're right.
I think we're seeing an American Idol audition in slow motion. Harry and Meghan too. Same thing. Meghan too. I'm a victim. I've been done wrong. I've this, I've that. I've tried so hard. And this is the other thing that so often, kind of drives me up the wall, I have to say. There have been times when I have seen something that somebody has done in terms of piece of, a report that they're supposed to do or whatever it is. And you get it and you say, this is not good. I'm sorry. And their immediate response is, oh, but I worked so hard on it.
Yeah.
I tried so hard.
Exactly.
Just, Meghan, I tried so hard to fit into
Right.
the British family. And it's like, first of all, doesn't look like you tried that
No.
hard. And number two, no one cares if you tried hard. You still laid an egg.
Exactly.
This is still lousy. I'm sorry.
Sure.
If you spend a week on it, boy, I mean, kind of the joke's on you. You wasted your time
Yeah.
because this is
Agree.
garbage. So, I get this, and then of course they're offended by that. Well,
Yes.
I tried. I worked so hard on it. Well, okay, so what?
It ties back to the victim of it all. They'll never learn, they'll never change because instead of realizing, oh, you know what? I should invest in singing lessons. If I really want to make this dream come true, these are the steps I have to take. It's the world's just against me then. It's like,
That's right.
no, no,
Yeah,
you can do things to tip the odds more toward your favor.
absolutely,
So.
absolutely.
But I
So
think this relates to Harry and Court because that's what both I think that's what we have in common. That's one of our favorite things. When Harry goes to court, he's a lunatic. But he seems to think that when he lost the court case, the last court case, he went straight to the BBC.
correct.
He thinks that the odds are tipped against, or he thinks that the world's just against him instead of him being a lunatic.
A good old fashioned establishment stitch up.
Yes, I
And
forgot.
I wish somebody had told me
Yeah.
that things might end this way.
Well, you're an attorney. Tell us, do you just not explain anything to your clients ever? Do you just say, I got this, don't worry, you don't need to know anything?
It's one thing first of all, I find it very difficult to believe that his lawyers did not tell him
Agree.
multiple times.
And he goes,
Multiple times.
yeah.
Well, right, right. Um, an absolute, a conscious decision not to hear what's being said to you. That's what it seems like. That's my opinion of probably what happened.
Agree.
And along with you, my lawyer, you don't know what you're talking about, or I mean, you can just imagine what all
Or it's your
was.
pro-royal family, what, like all that, I'm sure.
Yes,
That's
yes,
probably
and there are cases where you make an informed decision to proceed, even with full understanding of the fact that there's not a good chance of success here.
correct.
And that's fine. That's fine. If that's what the client wants, that's what the client gets.
Sure.
But you can't claim that you did not know what was going to happen.
Agree.
That just seems really like a bridge too far.
Exactly.
It really does. I find that very, very hard to believe.
I agree
And
completely.
I don't know anything about his legal counsel, but I'm sure that they were not novices.
Mm-hmm.
It's really kind of bizarre.
I think so.
And of course, he has court coming up in the very near future.
Go ahead and pencil me in. When he's in there, I'm going to have you back on because
A
that's
lot,
some of my favorite times when
a
Harry
lot of people, think that, including the judge,
uh
don't think that that's a good bet to make. And it seems like the whole business is coming apart at the seams. Now, it's
yeah,
entirely possible that could get settled. It's you can settle before until there is a verdict from a judge or a jury. You can raise your hand and say, Your Honor, I'd like to talk to opposing counsel. We'd like to discuss possible settlement.
oh, I never even thought about that. If you feel like it's going one way or the other, then you might want to say, Your
Absolutely.
Honor, help me.
Absolutely. Happens all the time.
Okay, fair enough.
Happens all the time.
Uh,
I mean, and there are always conversations back and forth about, do we really want to proceed with this litigation? I mean, the stakes are high, a lot of work involved, a lot of money involved. Would it make more sense to settle this, to reach an agreement? And depending on how things go, as I said, they could settle tomorrow. They could settle at the moment that the jury is, that the case is starting, or at some point along the path. So anything's possible. Anything's
Absolutely.
possible.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, but I personally love when he goes to court because he says the most. I mean, it just shows how tone deaf, I think, or out of touch he is. Just these outlandish statements he makes.
Well, the out of touch comes, and we've talked about this before, the out of touch comes from three things. He is not known to be a highly intelligent individual. He is not known to be a very worldly individual. He does not have a good sense of how things get done in the real world. I mean, a perfect example of that, I think, was when he was knocking on random doors in London, trying to find whatever he was trying to find, just ringing doorbells.
I suspect it rhymes with Smealer.
Yeah.
Substance Smealer. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's entirely possible. Just our opinion.
Yeah. Right.
And then he's the product of a very bizarre upbringing. He lost his mother. Everybody gets it. But his father, who knows what level of interaction he had with his father? Yeah, we have all these pictures of them out, on this, ski slopes of Switzerland or France or wherever, and having a great family outing. But we have no idea what happened behind closed doors. If you're raised in an environment where you basically have a surrogate or a set of surrogate parents, you're not going to turn out the same way. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to turn out the same way as if you sit down every night at the dinner table with a solid nuclear family. And I get it. I mean, nobody has the perfect, especially in this day and age. This is not the 1950s anymore. I get it. But he's a product of a very strange environment, and he is fighting really, I think, with one hand behind his back, intellectually. I don't think that's a revelation to anybody. And so entirely conceivable that he could go into court thinking yet again, like, oh, I've got, righteousness and everything is on my side because I'm standing up for all the, I'm trying to slay dragons here.
Yeah.
And entirely conceivable that that's just not going to work out.
But I can't let this moment go without saying, because I'm just wired up this way where I have to say, I mean, again, just like we related to earlier, your friend who unfortunately struggled and emancipated and then, turned out brilliantly. William was raised in the same environment, and I don't pretend to know Prince William. I'm sure he's weird behind doors, but he seems lovely and charming, and we don't really have any issues with him. So again, I think, yes, it's that nature versus nurture. Like, it's you. Yes, it affects you and it shapes you, but what are you going to do with it? How are you going to handle it? Harry picks the wrong option every time.
Yeah. Listen, well, I'll say this. Everybody is weird.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yes.
we all have
We're all
eccentricities, some of which are more glaring than others.
Yes.
And everybody is a little bit weird in some way. I think the problem with Harry, and I understand what you're saying about Prince William. I think the problem with Harry, though, is that he has this anger and he has this immaturity, apparently, that he does not understand that, what's the right analogy? In business, if you have a 55% chance of winning and a 45% chance of losing, and you go through your entire life cycle of your, business establishment, and you win 55 and you lose 45, you're doing well.
Yeah.
You're doing well. You're beating the odds.
Mm-hmm.
I think Harry's the type of person that says, well, I'm not content with 55 wins and 45 losses. He wants 100 wins and 0 losses. And that is just not the way the world works.
That's a very good analogy. I need to internalize this because I struggle too. That's really good.
It's true. And you ask anybody.
I never thought about it like that. That's a light bulb moment for me.
And you talk,
yeah.
you talk about good lawyers. You win more than you lost, and even the best lawyers sometimes lose cases that they feel like they should win, and things just don't happen for whatever reason. But Harry, I don't think, understands it. And again, this goes back to the 3 qualities, the 3 factors in his life. His, and actually, I'd even take it to a 4th quality. It's his intellectual intelligence, his emotional intelligence, which you haven't talked about, but his weird upbringing, just the weirdness of being a member of the royal family, the royal household, and then the fact that he probably didn't have the attention from we know his mother, we all know about that, but I mean, who knows how much attention he got from his father?
Sure.
And there's something to be said, I mean, for, again, growing up in a household where it's one thing to be disciplined by a nanny. It's another thing entirely to be disciplined by one of your parents.
Agree.
And I suspect that nuance probably had a lot in terms of shaping who Harry turned out to be.
So I have a rule here where I never talk about their children, and I'm not talking about their children, but I would say, I think you're right. And it's interesting what we think we know about how their children are being brought up, because it would appear like a lot of it is handled by outside help based on their amount of travel and stuff. So if that was the case, wouldn't you be extra sensitive to, he even wrote in his book something about being an absentee dad. And I always thought, if you're playing victim so hard about, future King Daddy was, not taking me for bike rides, even though we've seen pictures of it, whatever.
Right.
Fine. Then I just think it's interesting that he whines about it. And then again, I'm not in their house. I don't know. He could be there every night, but it appears like the kids aren't always the focal point. That's my opinion. That's not on the kids. That's on the parents.
Yeah. I think you characterize that correctly in terms of us not really knowing what goes on, and obviously we don't.
Sure.
We will know in about 10 years when the 2 of them become teenagers, or they turn 18 and they're sort of turned loose on the world, for better or worse.
Sure.
They could turn out great. For all we know, they could turn out great. And I mean, that would be everybody's hope and prayer, that these are 2 wonderful kids who make the world a better place than it was when they came into it. But at the same time, there's that performance aspect of it, that, the whole, my husband loves me so much.
Yeah.
My children love us so much. H is the world's greatest father.
Yeah. Lily can film a family video at 4 years old.
Right. Lily has found her voice. That's
right. Archie asked for a Leica camera at how old he was, 5 years old. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Right. Maybe a play school camera. How about that?
Yes, exactly.
A toy camera. But it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
They could be doing a masterful job raising those kids. But at the same time, I think it's entirely fair to have some questions and doubts and concerns about what could be.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you made that point. I want to say the same. I never, again, never after the kids. So I hope nothing but the best for them. And what I think would be brilliant is if they grew up and they're like, you know what? We're gonna go hang out with our cousins in the UK. You know,
Right.
they flourished in whatever role, that made sense at the time.
Yes.
And Harry and Meghan were just, they're the ist towards against us.
Yeah. Right.
No.
Right.
But anyway, but no, I'm glad you clarified. But that does lead me into something, since again, we're just excuse me, I'm still dealing with this cough. Apologies. But we're just totally speculating here, but can't help but notice the weirdness with them and the kids. Again, it's not the kids' fault, it's their weirdo parents, and the way that they constantly shield faces. And I've always said I don't show my Gosling because I don't think it's my choice. I think it's hers when she's old enough to make that decision. So that's what I believe. To each his own on parenting. I get it. But when you demand a title for a kid, that's a different situation. When you're demanding privileges, then I think there are certain things that are expected. So I do think it's weird that they're hiding the kids so much. But you brought up such a good point. Do you remember what it was about covering the kids' faces?
Yeah. Yeah. It seems very reminiscent of Michael Jackson.
As soon as you said it, again, light bulb moment. Shall I remind us all in case people aren't familiar?
Cover your eyes.
I know. Hold on, I've got it right here. There you go. So, care to explain what that means?
Well, Michael Jackson famously, gave his kids, I don't know, was it here they've got some sort of head
Veil?
covering?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he famously, one of his kids was always out wearing a Mardi Gras, mask.
Uh-huh.
It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a weirdness to
Yeah.
do that in the first place, and then you just have to think, okay, what is this doing to the kids?
Yeah, that's it. And I have
And
like this, we got this at Christmas.
yeah,
And you're trying to convince us that the kids are the focal point? I don't think so.
yeah,
I don't think so. Yeah, it's weird. I
yeah,
think it's still just my opinion. It seems performative, and it seems like they're still pushing this excess privacy narrative.
correct.
So
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
that's just my opinion. Yeah.
And again, I have, going back to the whole Ravic and the security business, and you just have to say to yourself, okay, well, is this a genuine concern about the kids?
Right.
Especially in light of the whole, push that Harry and Meghan have made about the internet and social media and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too on some of this stuff. And again, as far as the Ravic is concerned, I think it's very convenient. I'm not saying it's cause and effect, but I think it's an interesting apparent coincidence that they're desperately complaining about, we're not safe. I can't go back to the UK, on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And, then there's this whole sort of, again, performative business of the kids. Oh, we can't show the kids' faces. We've got to treat the kids like Michael Jackson treated his kids. Right. Because, it just all fits together. It's too convenient.
I think so too. So too. Yeah. I think it's just kind of bizarre at this point, honestly. Show them, don't show them. I don't even think anybody cares anymore at this point. It's just become weird. I think so.
Right. So. And even if you did see their faces, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is that relevant to anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing you mentioned the Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no disrespect to you, but nobody cares.
Exactly.
I mean, people have not tuned in here to see your family.
That's it.
People have tuned in to see you. Really?
That's even questionable. Yeah. No.
Well, yeah, right. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's
absolutely. That's it.
This is the sort of, jerking back and forth that drives people nuts about Harry and Meghan, is that, well, do you want privacy? Do you want to be a social media star? Do you want your picture taken on a private jet?
Right. Absolutely.
You got to make up your mind.
I think so. Yeah.
The word hypocrisy gets thrown around a lot, and probably not too far off.
That therein lies my fascination. I always talk about it. I'm just fascinated by psychology, and I cannot think of anybody that's just more constantly checking that hypocritical box, constantly demanding titles and then hiding details. And I just think that's so weird.
Yeah.
I understand
Well,
privacy, then don't demand titles for your kids if you're worried about security. It doesn't make any sense. Please go ahead.
well, but here's the thing that I think is so often overlooked.
Mhm.
People say, I get this question once in a while. People say, why are people so consumed with Harry and Meghan? They're nobodies. They're, you know, they're
Yeah.
not inspiring people. There's all these reasons not to pay attention to Harry and Meghan, and yet there's this huge group of people that do pay attention to Harry and Meghan. Now, I'm not talking about people who support them. I'm talking about people who
Sure.
are fascinated by them for all the wrong reason. It's because of the repeated hypocrisy, train wrecks.
Yes.
They are truly fascinating people
Yeah.
in their current state.
Absolutely. I think
It's like if you go to the aquarium and you get there on the day that some crab decides it wants a new shell, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, that was really cool. They keep taking
Yeah.
they keep deciding they want a new shell, and
Right.
and and it's like, wow, this just keeps happening, and I can't stop watching it.
That's it. I remember from my psychology studies, we as humans are attracted to patterns and things that we try to make sense out of things. And so when things don't make sense, there's a lot of what? It's the train wreck analogy. What? That's not supposed to happen. That doesn't normally happen. So
Well,
that,
I think you're absolutely right, and human beings are biologically tuned
Mhm.
to notice aberrations
Yeah.
and to notice things that do not fit an expected pattern. I was talking to somebody just recently about how do police determine who might be a drunk driver.
Mhm.
Well, you look at the person who's driving much faster or much slower
Mhm.
than everybody else who's driving down the street.
Oh,
The person who can't keep the car between the markings on the pavement. The
mhm.
person who, when the light turns green, there's a certain expectation of how fast it takes somebody to get going. All these are the types of things that people look at and police
Yeah.
look at, and they say, okay, something worth paying attention to here. And
Mhm.
that's exactly the way that Harry and Meghan's
Yeah. They just
behavior and their life is just a series of aberrant behaviors and
that's it.
aberrant occurrences. And
Uh-huh.
people just say, I'm really intrigued by that.
Yeah.
They are not behaving in the way that even accounting for the usual,
Yeah, there's
people
always
are
gonna be a
different.
weirdo.
And
Yeah. Right.
so that's what the fascination is.
I think so too, and then to take that a step further, the analogy, why are we wired up like that? It's for human survival, so we can tell if we should be scared.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You can walk down the sidewalk in New
Uh-huh.
York or Los Angeles or London or wherever it is, and you can see a group of people,
Uh-huh.
you know, huge groups walking in one direction with you, huge groups walking the other direction.
Mhm.
If there's somebody who's sketchy, who's walking in the other direction,
Uh-huh.
you could spot that person half a block away.
Uh-huh.
Just what you said, Jen. It's a survival instinct,
Yeah.
and it's you not only see it, but then you think about it, and it's like, okay, well, why is that person weird? And
Exactly.
am I actually even intrigued by the way in which this person is weird? They might
Right.
be perfectly harmless, but they're still weird and they're
Uh-huh.
still worth looking at.
That's right. Yep, I think so. I will say have a kid. Since having a kid, my spidey sense is 10 times sharper, where it's just like everything is just weird.
Of
So
course. Of course. Well,
kind of
it's like, okay, there's a package at the door. I wasn't expecting a package. I'm
exactly.
intrigued. I want details. What's going on here? You know,
Yeah.
somebody is, you know,
Yeah.
the power company is all of a sudden they're digging a hole in my front yard.
That's
I
right.
didn't expect that. What's
That's right.
happening here? I
Something's
want more
weird.
details.
That guy blinks differently than every other person I've seen. What's going on? Absolutely everything is just a what's going on.
Well, and you know, this is at the core. I'm not a huge proponent of all these body language experts. They're very interesting to listen to. I don't know if there's hard science behind them, but
Sure.
what I do know is that they invariably start by saying, okay, we're going to establish a baseline for behavior of this person that we're looking at. The Timothy Busfield, the
Mm,
man who was arrested the other day
mhm,
for doing some stuff allegedly that he shouldn't have done with children.
mhm.
Um, there's been a lot of commentaries put out about, you know, how did he behave and what's his baseline. And somebody was saying, it was Scott Rouse was saying, you know, he uses his hands a lot. He's and under normal circumstances for somebody who doesn't use their hands a lot, that would be something to key in on. But
Mhm.
he's using his hands throughout the entire conversation. So
Okay.
we have to consider that a baseline. We can't really consider that an aberration. But there's some
Sure.
other things that he's doing that do seem that they're aberrant. And so we're going to focus on that. And we're going to draw some conclusions possibly. Anyway, so again, it's all sort of the same pattern recognition,
Mhm,
deviation recognition,
mhm.
and that's what makes the Harry and Meghan of it all so intriguing.
Agree completely. I think so too. That's going to do it for this part of my sit down with John Witherspoon. Be sure to come back tomorrow as I have more. We got into such interesting conversations about, I mean, so much, all the stuff that they're up to, stuff with William and Catherine, and what's going on with Harry and Meghan, and the weirdness around the kids, and the hypocrisy, just all the stuff. So I can't wait for you to see the next part of this. And again, a huge thank you to John Witherspoon, friend of the channel, for the time you took, the time you spent talking to me, and all your thoughtful answers. Make sure you give him that follow on Instagram at Witherspoon DC. And I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this. I'll see you in the next part of this. Bye bye.